up, YouTube? Fellas?
Good, was good.
Welcome back to Mama's Basement.
Good Friday.
Hey, we here. Payday.
If you got a job.
Yeah. Hey, or you got a girl with a job.
Hey, my mama got a job, so I'm good, baby.
So it's payday. Piece of the night, got the Xbox or whatever I want to play on deck.
100%.
But shoot, we can get it right into it, man. I came across a video and it just sparked something in my mind, man. And it's basically how we just how we as humans, period, man. I'm not gonna like make this a color thing specifically, but how we deal with criticism, man, and how we have a tendency to throw out good information when it comes from a source that we may not like, or we may not, unilaterally agree with all of the things they may say. So you want to roll that clip, man? We'll get right into it.
Yes, sir. No sound.
No sound.
A percentage right now to give
25%. So only 1 out of 4 blacks in America have a mom and a dad around. Do you think that is a bigger issue to address than racism? Do you think more dads is a better solution?
How could dads be connected directly?
Dads are very connected.
Dads? And what about, okay.
When you have a dad around, you're less likely to be violent as a male, less likely to go to prison.
So explain to me why all the fathers are leaving.
Exactly. Why are they leaving?
Question for you.
Because black women married the government and divorced the men that they were once with.
Uh-oh. So I'm gonna start off with saying this, I don't necessarily agree with this whole thing with the air quote about racism, because as we all know, people who've been, in the business world, I just leave it at that. It may not be as pronounced and out front as it once was, but we all know that it very much still exists. And as you start to climb the ladder, it starts to rear its head more and more. When you're even with people, a lot of times, it's fine. Okay, hey, I like so-and-so, he's good. But when you start to elevate, the fangs come out. And that's what makes it hard, because you're not really sure if it's professional jealousy, racism, or a combination of both. But they will use racism to try to bait you and try to trick you out of your position. So let me just get that out the way. With that being said, I think the guy, he had a very, very good point.
Okay. Sure, yeah. My bad. I thought you had another thought, bro.
No. I just want to kick it back to you, man. But I was just saying, I thought he had a very good point, because you can make the claim. Yeah, you could make the claim about racism still existing or not. But I look at it like this: if you have a 2-parent household, you're going to make it harder for the so-called racists to make you a victim, i.e. the prison industrial complex, like these things, these are irrefutable facts now, there's no worse kind of racism in my book than having you in the jail cell, you know what I'm saying?
Look,
the slave wage.
The racism that we experience is systematic. And when it becomes systematic, that means that they no longer do it. We do it to ourselves. So the stuff that it was inflicted on the people 150 years ago to the 60s, that was racism. This is systematic, to where we do it to ourselves. We talk bad about ourselves. I had a conversation with somebody. I said the only and this is true, you can look it up all you want. Our women are the only women in the world who bash their men publicly. And I'm not talking about their personal men. I'm talking about a generalization.
Yeah,
we get bashed by every demographic, to include our women. You don't see white women on TV saying all white men are bad. You don't see Asian women on TV saying This Chinese men ain't shit. You don't see this except in our community. We're the only, like, we do it to ourselves now. There's no reason for nobody to do it at this point, because guess what? Why do it when they do it to themselves?
You know what? That's a valid point, man. It does seem as though other women don't speak in generalities, right? Yeah. They speak about their specific man. My man was bad, or he did this, or he did that. They don't
publicly.
Right, publicly, right. Not that I can recall where, I never heard a white woman say.
I don't know what they do in amongst themselves in their own groups, but I mean, like, publicly bashing.
And I will say this too. I mean, we've heard what he said before, right? It's been parroted in our community for decades now, right? So he's not saying anything new. But for some reason, it just hits a little harder when someone from a different race says it.
Exactly.
Get mad at the message if the message is right.
And the thing about that too, though, is like hearing it from a Caucasian male, is that how her first line of defense was, well, how can you equate, the father not being in the home to racism? And I'm not gonna get too deep with it, but this goes back to study your history, know your history. I always go back to this because it's so profound and it's so true. There was a time when the black family in this country was thriving, even under the so-called Jim Crow. A lot of people can go back and look at history and look at the timeline of the black community and say that integration was not the greatest thing for us, because along with integration came the taking of the father out of the home, replacing that fatherly presence with money. So that's how that ties in. And just like you said, they divorced the husband and they married the government for the money.
Bro, I wish I had this clip, man.
The money with no personality, I call it.
Like, there's a clip I saw, right? Again, TikTok. I wish I had it. Unfortunately, I don't have it. It's from an interview from a woman in, like, it's either the 1970s or the 1980s, where the setting is, right? And pretty much, she's a melanated woman, and she's saying it's almost more profitable to keep the man out of the home and not be married.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I've seen that clip.
I'm sorry, I don't have it.
I know which one you're talking about.
But she was making that point was, we do better off financially single, and that's due to the incentives that we, from what she was saying, we are receiving from the government, and they won't allow to have a man in the house and still receive his incentive. Yeah. So that kind of goes to what bro was speaking to about it being systematic, right? And it's not something that was necessarily chosen 100%, but it's a systematic thing that was put upon.
I almost look at it like this: you got called so many bad names and so many racial slurs so long, to where amongst us, I say it all the time, but that's just, it has no effect on me anymore. Like, even if I got called it by a different demographic, it doesn't affect me, because I can be a nigga, but I also can be articulated. You know what I'm saying? I also can stand in the room with any demographic and be able to articulate myself in those type of situations. I have ways. I grew up in it. This is my culture at this point. Unfortunately, it's part of the culture. But we did way better before segregation. Before desegregation. We owned our neighborhoods. We owned our businesses. There was no businesses in our communities that wasn't owned by us. It wasn't until and now it's just that, who doesn't want to get the money without having to consult to somebody about it? And that's pretty much what happened. It's, if I have a man in this household and he's taking care of this household, he also has the word, the final word. A real man that has some type of masculinity, I will take your advice, but I'm going to make the final decision. And nobody wants to feel inferior to the next person, especially in the black community. We have women that's saying, I'm independent. But yet, like I said, everything's getting paid for by the government. or the government is helping out, just like a man would do if your man was in your house. And the only thing they got to do is follow some rules.
Okay, so here's my question. I don't mean to cut you off, but here's what I propose to both of y'all, and I want y'all to individually answer this. How much responsibility or how much blame would you put on the government versus the woman as opposed to falling for that? Because at some point, a woman has to look around and say, hey, my kids are not as good off. My family is in disarray. Granted, I have minimal needs met, and there's no question about that. Yeah, they're going to make sure I get to the next month, but is this worth the guidance and the love and care that comes with a strong, prominent male figure who's not going to want what's best for me and my children? Is that worth throwing away over the security of a just good enough check?
I still blame the government, and I still blame the media, because that's what programs people now. And people don't read books. People don't. Not only that, people don't research information. So once it's told to them, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just generalizing for the
I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? But they don't. Whatever's thrown into their head, whatever. And not only that, if the person has a popularity, if they're popular and this person is telling you this, guess what? This is what it is to them.
So what about self-accountability though?
They got to take accountability, but it's a minimal accountability because they chose to walk this way. Like, it's just anything. Like most racist, I have a friend, right? His name is his main name is because I'm
about to say, don't do him like that.
But you know what I'm saying? He was a white supremacist. He grew up in white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't even talk to black people because he was from West Virginia, a little area, whatever. He didn't even talk to any minorities or black people until he got into the Marine Corps. And when he got into the Marine Corps and we had to go to war with him and everything like that, I got your back, you know what I'm saying? You need some, hey man, I got some extra, he'll throw a couple of MREs, I know you about to go out. He started to realize that everything that his father taught him was wrong. So that's the same thing how I look at black women. Until they get an example of what a real man is, a real black man is, they can only go off of what they're taught about black men. Like who's the corniest man in the 2000s? And we used to joke on him on public forums and everything. Wayne Brady, right? Good, clean cut dude. Didn't really cuss in that manner, you know what I'm saying? Carried himself well in public and everything like that. But in our community, we was taught to look at him like he a cornball.
All right, look.
But this is what the media is. This is what the media this is what they literally did. Like the Dave Chappelle show, they really put him up there and said, the Brian Gumble joke or whatever the case may be with it. That's because that's what they want to put. But then you got who's the one of the greatest men in our society right now to idolize, the Chris Browns, the Drakes, the Jay-Z's, everybody that got questionable past about how they get there. This is what we idolize.
That's where the flaw is at, though.
My response is layered.
But I'm just saying.
Check this out. Check this out. So mine is a little bit layered, right? So initially, well, first of all, let's go back to here. We have to understand that governments spend billions, not just our government, governments in general spend billions of dollars to perfect propaganda, right? And to perfect imaging and changing what people's thoughts are and what their ideals are, right? That's number one. And a lot of times when you're in the middle of a situation, you can't really see the forest before the tree, right? For a perfect example would be during COVID, everyone was getting those loans, those PPP loans, right? 2 years later, right? Motherfuckers is going to jail for doing something, for accepting something that the government was freely giving out, right? So they couldn't see the outcome, a year or two later. So just imagine these women here who were in a situation, they're trying to make ends meet. They have 2 kids, right? Maybe 3. And they're like, well, I can have a better life. I can feed my children better if I abide by what Keisha's doing down the street, and I get this money from the government, right? And I can live better. Now, fast forward to today's time, I will put the onus on today's woman, because today we have so many resources. There's no excuse to be stupid, and
we have a sample size now.
That lifestyle.
Now, I didn't mean to cut you off, because I just want to say you had the resources, we have the information, but more importantly, we have a sample size now. We can go back 2 or 3 generations and see, hey, this ain't it.
This is the outcome. This is what this will produce. Look at the state of our community now, and this came from X, Y, and Z date.
Yeah.
And they should be able to look at that, discern that information, and decide, you know what? Maybe I need to be more cautious about who I procreate with, right? Maybe I should be more thoughtful about separating and leaving my family and thinking it's going to be a party. You know what I mean? Once I do make the divide. Yeah. A perfect example of that would be the modern day Tia Mowry. What you say right there? Somebody read that, what you said.
Hold on. First of all, is this a true quote?
Yeah, this is a true quote. She said, I ruined not just my marriage, but my entire life by leaving my husband. I left him for absolutely no reason. The TikTok thing in the way. I can't see it.
What's that? He was nice to me?
He was very nice to me, and I regret leaving my husband. TikTok thing in the way again. What's that say on your side?
I don't know. Distracted by another.
I was distracted by another man who promised he would treat me better, but he didn't.
Now, honestly, I don't know the source of that, but I've seen it so many times. I'm not sure how true it is. If someone may have reworded something she said, but let's go with it. If she didn't say that, how many women believe that and fall for that trap in our society today?
Attention seeking.
A lot. And you know what? That's
how she left them.
Now go ahead, Roy.
The attention that they get from others supersedes what they got going on. They just somebody in their ear, and that's how you know. Like, I don't know how to say this in a non-derogatory way, but their mothers are the reason why they're making the decisions that they're making. And I'm being real with you. I've seen it. I've seen women have kids, and the families tell them straight up, go put them on child support so you can get your benefits and get your Section 8, this, that, and the other. One, because it might be smart financially starting off to get all these benefits until both of y'all attain some type of status as far as like financial status, education, and things of that nature. But secondly, they don't want these kids in their house. They don't want that baby crying and this, that, and the other after they don't raise their own kids. So it becomes a selfish nature that forced them to they put this information into their kids. And that's why I said they have the biggest influence, even more than the TV. Is what the parents are telling them to do. What is the person that they respect most in their life telling them to do? And they always tell them, go down there and get your Section 8. You go down there and go get your child support. If he locked up, go pin him on TANF. These type of things are being said. And what happens with TANF?
Let's differentiate that though, because to be fair, every black woman isn't raised in the hood.
But
that's some hood shit right there.
But I'm gonna give you a fact, right? This is a fact. Statistic fact. 80% of women become mothers in their lifetime, right? Only 20% of men become fathers in America. And only I think they said only half of that become multiple fathers. So what is being programmed by these women to mess with these, like look, Future got 8 kids, right? 8 kids. Nick Cannon got 12 kids. You know what I'm saying? These women knew he had kids from the get-go. It's the programming, it's the image, and everybody wants status. And the status is, oh, I heard this, I heard he's like this, or I heard he gets this type of money, or I heard he got a good name, or this, that, or the other, or he used to play basketball. I want my kid to play basketball, so I'm gonna have a kid with him, knowing that this man ain't shit.
Well, a lot of it is today. You have a lot of people fronting on social media, you know, saying how great their life is.
Mm-hmm.
That all you see is this chick is in Dubai one week, the next week she's in France. You know what I mean? Then she's in Morocco, then she's somewhere else, and she's a single mother living the life, right? So after a while, that starts to bleed into the subconscious. It's like, well, shit, I want to live a life too. And as long as I got this man telling me what I can and can't do, you know what I mean? He's holding me up. He's preventing me from living my life. Well, you know, so they think they're gonna have this yacht life, right? Where in reality, what these girls online aren't saying is,
1 second,
someone is paying for that,
Yeah.
right? And they're not talking about all the things that they have to do in order to continue that, or for that man to provide for that lifestyle. They're going to Dubai and they're performing acts for somebody. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't have a glow up when they got divorced. They just didn't get rich when they left their man. You know what I mean? They found the sponsor who's requiring something of them, because nothing's for free. You know what I mean? Nothing's for free. So would you rather be loved in a healthy relationship, or building towards having a healthy relationship, or would you rather be in a relationship for exchange of something, your body for something?
Yep. And a lot of them choose that, man. And you know, this is tied back around the whole thing. You know, people taking criticism, and I almost want to change the title of this, man, because like I feel like this is evolved into, to be concise, criticism versus influence.
Sounds good to me.
You know, because like we're dealing with two forces. You know, on one end, criticism might not be what you want to hear. And I think that's what really messes a lot of these families up, because they don't want to hear it. They're not going to be logical, and they're just going to blah, 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 you know? Like, I always have a problem with the argument of how, you know, well, I get it. I understand that it plays a part, but I have an issue with it being the end all be all with influence from like media and everything. Because I always say this, man, my mama whooped the ass. Straight up. No punchline to it. My mama whooped the ass. She didn't care what I heard or what I was surrounded by outside, you know, but when I walked through these doors, there were certain things I didn't do. You know? And that's the great debate right now. When does the government's responsibility end and the parents' responsibility begin? Because I feel like it's all one and the same. That ties back into the criticism versus influence. Because the influence is flashy. That's alluring. You know, that makes you feel good. Criticism might not feel good, but criticism gonna be good to you.
And that's when the messenger, everybody, if you was getting criticized by the person who you have the most respect for, you're more likely to take the criticism better. But when you hear it from somebody where it's just like, you shouldn't even be speaking on this, or she shouldn't even be speaking on this, man. They don't know me like that. They ain't from where I'm. This is the whole scenario that people come through the moment that you tell them, hey, yo, we fucked up. It ain't our fault that we fucked up, but we fucked up. And now we are pretty much committing generational curses because of the messed up logic that we got, and that we haven't tried to, like, we never listen to them, like, you know, that's wrong. Like, you know, I need my son needs both parents. I hate when females say that. He don't need nobody but me. No, he needs everybody.
He needs both.
The more help anybody gets, they're gonna be better off.
Yeah.
So we had this little thing called it takes a community to raise a child. Man, you say something to somebody's child nowadays, you know what I'm saying? And back in the day, we had the neighborhoods, the street, you know what? I couldn't leave the street until I was like 10 years old, you know what I'm saying? I had to play on the street. But we had the street snitch, Miss Porter, sitting in her room there all day, you know what I'm saying? And then once you heard her say, don't be doing that, you automatically knew she's about to tell whoever was raising you at the time. It was my grandma.
Was cooked.
And she's sitting at the door waiting with a belt. I heard what you was doing out there. But now you can't even do that no more. And now you have a person who's not I wouldn't say intelligent enough, because that's messed up to tell anybody that, but they shouldn't be the sole interpreter to a child. You know, the sole teacher to the child or whatever, because you learn different stuff from the community that you're in. You learn right from wrong by seeing the stuff that's going on, and having that old person tell you, "Hey, man, get away from them niggas on the block, or get away from them thugs on the block. They ain't about shit." And I'm gonna tell your mama if I see you back over there, they already told on you.
They're waiting on you.
But they already told on you. But that makes you understand like the seriousness of making a bad choice, because you start seeing the consequences of your actions. Now I don't believe that my child would do something like that, because they can't take accountability that their kids would make those type of choices.
Not my baby.
That's how I feel about it. You can't tell nobody kid nothing no more, because they feel like if I tell you that your kid's messing up, the first thing they think is, "Oh, you calling me a bad parent?" No, kids mess up. That's what we do.
That's what kids do.
That's what, you know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, that's what we do. We found dumb things to do that was stupid, but based off of my lack of judgment and intelligence at the time, as far as doing the right thing, and that shit seemed fun. Let's go ahead and do that shit. Let's go in there and steal some candy real quick. Now, I ain't had no candy in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna steal a candy bar. Doing dumb stuff. And I got told on. My grandma didn't sit there and believe that I was telling her the truth. I didn't do that, grandma. Take your pants off. That was just how it went. But we can't even do that no more in the society. And that's the reason why kids feel like they can do whatever they want. And then they become adults with the same mentality of, I can do whatever I want, because the most important person is never going to believe that I did this.
Man, you're going on a whole nother topic of privileges women have that men don't. And that's a whole nother video.
Based off the decisions that they're making.
That we can go into. And I'm sure we will. You know what I mean? Audience, what say you? Are we crazy? Are we talking nonsense, gibberish? I mean, I know there's only so much I can contribute still living in my mama's basement. I get it. But I'm still a man, right? And I'm trying to traverse through this world like everyone else is. Don't judge me. My mama just love me. Don't hate on me. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Express yourself.
Take criticism.
I ain't shit. I can take it.
Peace.